Russell Westbrook is reportedly heading back to OKC after announcing his retirement, and NBA players are already reacting to his return. From Kevin Durant to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, some of the league's biggest names are weighing in, but not everyone is happy about it. Let me catch you up. Here's the plan as it's being described right now. The Thunder are looking at bringing Russell Westbrook back for a one-day contract, just so he can put on a Thunder jersey one more time and play a single game in front of the Oklahoma City crowd. The Oklahoma City Thunder are reportedly considering bringing Russell Westbrook back to OKC next season, even if only for one day, offering him a one-day contract that would give him the opportunity to wear a Thunder uniform one more time and play one final game in front of the Oklahoma City crowd. No press conference, no training camp, just one night, one jersey, one goodbye. It's the kind of move the NBA has done before for franchise legends, but almost nobody expected it to be attached to Westbrook this fast. And the timing matters here. This isn't some rumor floating around for years. It came together within days of his actual retirement. One insider laid out exactly how the mechanics might work behind the scenes, and it's messier than a simple farewell tour. Westbrook is expected to sign a one-day contract with OKC and retire a Thunder player, though doing so would unfortunately push the Thunder past the second luxury tax apron, meaning the team would have to waive Jared McCain. That's the kind of detail that turns a feel-good tribute into a real roster puzzle. For Sam Presti's front office, a one-day deal for a retired 37-year-old point guard, on paper, shouldn't touch a team's cap sheet in any real way. But NBA contracts and apron rules don't work like sentiment. If the math is right, an entire current rotation player could get squeezed out just so the franchise can hand Westbrook one more night in Signal Blue. That detail alone got people online buzzing before the ink was anywhere close to dry. Fans didn't wait for confirmation. They'd been asking for this for days already. After Westbrook's actual retirement announcement went up, most reactions were emotional, but quite a few fans demanded that the Thunder should have handed Westbrook a one-day contract just to have him retire in the iconic Signal Blue jersey. So when word started spreading that the front office might actually be entertaining it, that pressure from the fan base looks like it played a real part. It also isn't a stretch for OKC to consider. This is a franchise that has treated Westbrook like family since the day he was drafted. When the Thunder posted their own retirement tribute, it wasn't some templated press release. The caption read, "Russell, to a legend on and off the floor. Congrats on retirement and thank you for everything you gave to the city." That post didn't sit quietly either. Within hours, it gained close to 500,000 views, over 30,000 likes, and more than 6,000 retweets. Sam Presti, the same general manager who drafted Westbrook back when the franchise was still finding its identity, put out his own statement once the retirement news broke. He didn't hold back on what Westbrook meant to the organization from day one. "Russell Westbrook is the ultimate competitor," the statement read. His internal belief and unbridled fearlessness helped establish the foundation of our organization from day one in 2008, and he elevated the confidence and inspired our community in every year thereafter. Presti kept going, calling Westbrook's post-basketball path just as promising as his playing days. Russell will be as successful in his life after basketball as he was during his career, because his qualities and gifts transfer. His impact on our community is still felt today, and he is beloved for his devotion as much as his talent. He built a Hall of Fame career not by making statements or simply by breaking records. He did it by showing us all the power of asking one simple question: why not? That's not a statement you write for a guy who spent one bad season in your building. That's a statement for a franchise cornerstone. And it's exactly why the one-day contract idea took off the way it did, because on some level, everyone in Oklahoma City already treats Westbrook like he never actually left. Fans have been pushing this even further too. It's not just about a farewell game. There's now a real conversation happening about whether the franchise should retire his number outright. Some are even asking Presti to build a statue for the former MVP. Others want the team to sign Westbrook for a one-day contract to play a farewell game in front of the Thunder faithful. Right now, the Thunder have only ever retired one jersey in their 18-year history in Oklahoma City. Nick Collison's number 4 was retired in 2019. Westbrook's number 0 hanging next to it feels to a huge chunk of that fan base like the only logical next step. The organization hasn't commented on whether Westbrook's number 0 will join Collison in the rafters, but fans keep speaking up on their wishes anyway. So that's where the deal stands. A front office that clearly loved having him, a fan base demanding closure, and a cap sheet that might make it complicated. But to understand why this moment hit as hard as it did, you have to go back to the day the retirement itself actually dropped, because almost nobody in the league saw it coming. Russell Westbrook didn't leak this. He didn't let it trickle out through anonymous sources for weeks. He filmed it himself. On a Wednesday in August, Westbrook posted a video on Instagram, just under 3.5 minutes long, walking viewers through his own highlight reel before telling them he was closing the book. According to the video posted on his social media, 37-year-old Westbrook removed himself from the equation, announcing to the world that he's retiring from the NBA, narrating as he walked through a montage of his accomplishments, before sharing that he's entering his next chapter. What made it land so hard is that nobody had him pegged as a retirement candidate. He was still a name teams were calling about, in an NBA free agency offseason that had been quite active, with Giannis heading to Miami and LeBron James and Jaylen Brown moving to Philadelphia. There had been nothing but rumors and speculation surrounding other veterans in search of a new home, names like Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson, and Russell Westbrook. He was supposed to be a subplot in somebody else's roster build. Instead, he made himself the headline. One outlet summed up just how blindsided the basketball world was by it, though hardly anybody saw it coming. Westbrook's retirement announcement came as an utter surprise to basketball fans. There'd been no farewell tour talk, no one more year storyline building all summer, the way there had been for other aging stars. He simply decided the answer to why not was finally no. To get why this hits Oklahoma City the way it does, you need the actual numbers behind those 11 seasons in Thunder Blue. Westbrook wasn't just a guy who passed through, he was the guy who built the identity of the franchise from the ground up. He was one of the last active players, drafted by the Seattle Supersonics, which later became the Thunder after moving to Oklahoma City in 2008, going 4th overall in the first round of that year's draft. That means Westbrook and this franchise are the same age, basically. There is no Oklahoma City Thunder story without him standing at the beginning of it. His production over those years backs up why fans still talk about him like a deity. In that city, he played his first 11 seasons with the Thunder, averaging an impressive 23.0 points, 8.4 assists, and 7.0 rebounds over 821 regular season games. Those aren't compiler numbers, those are MVP caliber numbers sustained across more than a decade. Then, in 2019, the Thunder traded him away, and it kicked off the wandering. Back half of his career, OKC traded him to the Houston Rockets in 2019, and he finished out his career with stints with the Washington Wizards, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Denver Nuggets, and Sacramento Kings. 6 different jerseys after the one that made him famous. That's the part of the story that makes the one-day contract idea hit so hard. After all that bouncing around, the idea of ending it back where it started feels like the only clean way to close the loop. His actual free agency arc leading into this retirement tells its own story too. He didn't walk away at the top. He was fighting to stay relevant on bad teams. Heading into what became his final full season, Westbrook declined his $3.4 million player option with Denver to enter free agency, having averaged 13.3 points on 44.9% shooting, 6.1 assists, and 4.9 rebounds in 27.9 minutes. Over 75 games for the Nuggets. He landed in Sacramento after that, on a Kings team that was never realistically competing. And even there, he kept producing at a level most 37-year-olds simply can't. In his final season, Westbrook appeared in 64 games, with 58 of his appearances as starts, producing an average of 15.2 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 6.7 assists per game while shooting 42.7% from the field, and 33.8% from 3. That's what made this retirement land as a surprise rather than an inevitability. He wasn't a guy limping to the finish line, unable to contribute. He was still a viable rotation piece. He was unsigned so far in the 2026 offseason before a potential 18th season. And he was still a valued veteran in the NBA who'd proven he could produce on the court. Even the front offices around the league that passed on him this summer weren't passing because he'd lost the ability to play. They were passing because fitting a ball-dominant guard into a bench role is its own puzzle. Westbrook is hard to fit into most conventional offenses as a role player, since his game's strengths come from controlling the ball as a point guard, and his lowered efficiency and poor outside shooting make him a risky bench option for most contending teams. So he made the decision for himself instead of waiting for the league to make it for him. And once that video went up, the reactions didn't trickle in slowly. They flooded in immediately, starting with the guy who knows Westbrook's game better than almost anyone else alive. If there was one reaction the entire NBA was waiting on, it was Kevin Durant's. These two spent the beginning of their careers completely intertwined, and the way things ended between them has been picked apart online for a decade. So when Durant didn't just like a tweet, but sat down and wrote an actual essay about Westbrook, people noticed instantly. Durant posted it the day after the announcement, and it wasn't a quick "congrats brother" throwaway line. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook spent the first portion of their careers linked together with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Durant paid tribute to his former teammate the day after Westbrook announced his retirement, making a lengthy statement on social media about Westbrook's decision to call it a career. What stood out most was how Durant chose to describe him. For years, the public narrative on Westbrook was that he was the loud, chaotic engine. Next to Durant's calm scoring touch, Durant flipped that completely. A lot of people looked at the emotions on the court and thought Russ was loud. Nah. To me, he was quiet and methodical, Durant wrote. He led by example, and once the lights were bright, he let everything out and experienced pure freedom. It was inspiring as his teammate, and everywhere I went, I seen it inspire people from all walks of life. Crazy thing is, he didn't say much, he just showed up. Then he got specific, pulling out a memory that only a former teammate would even remember. Durant recalled asking assistant coach Mo Cheeks what was harder to do, working out after practice or before, only because by the time he'd get to the gym, Russ was already done with his morning session, and he usually got his in after practice. Little detail, but it says everything about why Westbrook earned that respect. In the locker room, even during the years, the outside world questioned his shot selection. Durant didn't pretend the history between them was simple either. He's never done that. During the early years of their careers in Oklahoma City, they looked like the next legendary duo. But things didn't quite turn out that way. They never got over the hump, and Durant eventually left to join the Golden State Warriors, with their relationship complicated ever since. That's public record. Nobody's rewriting it. But what Durant's post did was separate the basketball breakup from the respect underneath it, and he closed with something that read like it came straight from the gut. He talked about the sacred weight of putting everything into the game, and about the regret some athletes carry when they look back. This basketball life is sacred to us as professionals. What we put into that court means everything. Some of us wish we could go back and do things with a little more intent. Then he went further, framing it almost like a challenge to himself as much as a tribute to Westbrook. Some of us wish we could go back and do things with a little more intent. And some can just wipe their hands and be satisfied with the time spent. Who gonna be? We know what zero was on Keep Inspiring in the next phase of Life Champ. I don't care what happens. Can't erase what it was. That last line hit fans hard, specifically because it echoed what actually happened between them on the court. Durant wrote that Westbrook's leadership was inspiring as a teammate before ending the post, by sending him much love and congratulations on an iconic career. They'd built something together that never quite finished the job. Westbrook opened his tenure in the association alongside Durant as they blossomed into stars together, and helped lead the Thunder on several deep playoff runs, including a 2012 NBA Finals appearance, before their on-court partnership ended after Oklahoma City fell to Golden State in the 2016 Western Conference Finals. And Durant signed with the Warriors that offseason. The reaction to Durant's post spread almost as fast as the retirement news itself. Even Durant's own mother jumped into the replies with her own message, which fans latched onto instantly. Russ West 44, I already miss you. Your grit, your tenacity, your fire was always on display and something to see. Always love for you and always will. Kevin Durant's mother commented. Other players and analysts piled onto Durant's thread almost in real time, with the moment turning into its own cycle of admiration across the league. Durant's tribute quickly drew attention across the NBA, with players, analysts, and fans reflecting on the bond the two stars built during their years in Oklahoma City, highlighting Westbrook's relentless work ethic and the way he led by example once the lights were bright. But Durant wasn't alone for long. The rest of the league, including the current face of the Thunder franchise, was about to weigh in too. If Durant's post carried the emotional weight of shared history, the next big reaction carried something almost stranger: silence being broken. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning face of the Thunder and a former MVP himself, almost never posts on social media. So when he showed up to honor Westbrook, it registered as a big deal all on its own. The numbers on his posting habits tell the story. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander ended his 4-year streak of not posting on X with a heartfelt message to Westbrook on his retirement. Before that, his last post had been back in September 2021 about a Converse shoe. 4 years of silence broken specifically for Westbrook. That alone told fans how seriously the current Thunder locker room views the guy who came before them. What Gilgeous-Alexander actually wrote leaned into the same theme everyone else was hitting: Westbrook as a permanent piece of Oklahoma City's identity, even though their timelines with the franchise never actually overlapped. A real OKC legend forever. Congrats on an amazing career, brother. Appreciate your contributions to the game, wrote Gilgeous-Alexander on X, tweeting the Thunder's original post congratulating Westbrook. That last detail matters more than it looks at first glance. Westbrook and Gilgeous-Alexander never played together in Oklahoma City, but both are franchise legends. There's an entire generational handoff embedded in that post. Though they never played regular season games as OKC teammates, Gilgeous-Alexander inherited the mantle of franchise cornerstone when Westbrook was traded in July 2019. Westbrook exited the franchise just weeks after Gilgeous-Alexander was traded to OKC via the Paul George deal. Two different eras of Thunder basketball connected by one trade that swapped the torch without either guy ever sharing a locker room. Then more names started stacking up. Donovan Mitchell, who's built his own career carrying some of that same relentless, downhill energy Westbrook was famous for, posted his own tribute almost immediately. Thank you, Russ West 44, Donovan Mitchell wrote, alongside a message reading, Your grit, your tenacity, your fire was always on display and something to see. That's a guy from a completely different era of the league, still crediting Westbrook's style as something worth honoring publicly. Paul George, Westbrook's own teammate during those Oklahoma City title runs, put his own reaction out as well, adding to the wave of current and former teammates showing up. And current Thunder wing Jalen Williams got creative with his tribute, putting together a playlist dedicated to Westbrook rather than a written statement, a small touch that still made the rounds across NBA social media. Even Ousmane Dieng, a much younger Thunder player who never crossed paths with Westbrook on the court, dropped a single word of tribute that fans immediately understood, just calling him the GOAT. That's 4 separate generations of NBA talent, all reacting within about 24 hours of each other. A former teammate turned rival in Durant, a current franchise face in Gilgeous-Alexander, a veteran star from a completely different lineage in Mitchell, and the current Thunder roster itself, from George all the way down to its youngest pieces, all saying some version of the same thing: that Westbrook mattered and that his number belongs somewhere permanent in Oklahoma City. It's worth zooming out here too, because Westbrook's exit isn't happening in a vacuum. He's part of a broader wave of veteran retirements reshaping who's actually left in the league. Russell Westbrook is leaving the NBA following Chris Paul's retirement earlier this year, and their departures from the league carry real significance. One columnist put it plainly, noting that for a whole generation of fans, Westbrook and Paul once represented must-watch TV in the NBA, and seeing them retire, joining others like Dwyane Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and Andre Iguodala signals that the league really belongs to the newer generation of players, like Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Victor Wembanyama. That's the backdrop this one-day contract idea is landing against. It's not just a farewell for one player, it's one of the last links to an entire era of NBA basketball, closing out at the exact franchise where it all opened up. And that's exactly why the conversation around bringing him back for one final night hit as hard as it did across locker rooms league-wide. So where does this actually leave things? Westbrook's retired, the tributes have poured in from every corner of the league, and the Thunder are sitting with a decision that's bigger than just sentiment. It's a decision that touches their cap sheet, their roster construction, and their entire relationship with the guy who built the franchise's identity from scratch. The apron math is the real obstacle here, and it's not small. Signing Westbrook for even one day would take Oklahoma City past the second luxury tax apron, which would mean the Thunder having to waive Jared McCain just to make room. That's a real basketball cost for a symbolic gesture. It's the kind of trade-off that turns a simple feel-good farewell into an actual front office decision, with consequences for a defending contender trying to build a repeat run. But teams have made these calls before, for the players who mean the most to their history, and Westbrook's case for that treatment is about as strong as it gets in this league. Every number backs it up. Westbrook ended his career with 9 All-Star nods, 9 All-NBA selections, 2 scoring titles, and 1 MVP award, sitting at number 14 on the NBA's all-time scoring list, and number 5 on the league's all-time assists leaderboard, while his 209 triple-doubles are the most in NBA history, with him averaging a triple-double throughout 4 separate seasons of his career. Those are inner circle, top-shelf numbers. Numbers that don't get erased. Just because his final years were spent in 6 different jerseys chasing one more shot at a ring. And that's really the emotional core of why fans latched onto the one-day contract idea so hard in the first place. He never got that ring. He never got the storybook ending. The Thunder's title window seemed destined to give him back in 2012. Instead, he watched Durant leave, got traded out himself in 2019, and spent the back half of his career bouncing through Houston, Washington, both Los Angeles teams, Denver, and finally Sacramento, always chasing something that never quite arrived. A single night back in Signal Blue, in front of the exact fans who watched him become an MVP, is the closest thing to closure this story has left to offer. The current locker room clearly feels that pull too. It's rare to see a current MVP break years of social silence. A rival turned brother write a paragraph that reads like a eulogy for a friendship, and an entire young Thunder roster chime in with tributes, all inside the same 48 hours. That's not just respect for a stat sheet. That's an entire league acknowledging that one era is ending and handing the mic to the next one. Guys like Gilgeous-Alexander and Wembanyama, while making sure Westbrook gets sent off the way he actually earned. Whether Presti and the front office ultimately pull the trigger on the one-day deal, waive whatever piece they need to waive, and give Westbrook that final night under the lights in Oklahoma City is still playing out. But the reaction from across the NBA already answered the bigger question. Nobody in that locker room, from Durant to Gilgeous-Alexander to the league's newest faces, needed convincing that Westbrook belongs back where his career started.